Have you ever wondered if the secret to your success was only around 600 miles away? I too once thought that way, way long ago. I'm just kidding, it was only last year when I first thought of the idea. For this video, I wanted to talk about something that I went through last year that kind of gave me a whole new appreciation for, I don't want to say for life, but it gave me what's the word I want to say? The direction I needed. Um, So that, as the title suggests, it's not 100% clickbait. Um, but let's start at the beginning. So long story short, I was born and grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska. And around last year, I think it was, June 2024, if I'm not mistaken, I decided to pack up and move around, I think totally it was like 650 miles. Oh, that hurts me. I moved 650 miles to Garland, Texas, which I had family here. So now, of course, the main question you guys are wondering is, why did I do this? Well, there were a lot of reasons. The main one was I went to school in Nebraska to be an electrician, which ultimately I ended up getting fired from. Different job, or whatever. Actually, let's start from the beginning. I jumped ahead a little bit. So yeah, I went to school to be an electrician in Nebraska. When I graduated last May, so May 2024, they promised me in school, oh, all these jobs, the company's going to reach out for you. You're never going to have to, look for a job. You always have offers about whatever. And those never came. And when I graduated in May, I applied, I looked around, and nobody was hiring. Even in Omaha, which, if you guys know, so there's Lincoln, Nebraska, which is the capital, and there's Omaha, which is about 50 minutes north, I think. Yeah, about north. Let's say north, and that's like the bigger city, the more well-known one. And even in Omaha, they weren't hiring for apprentices, which is when you start out as an apprentice. And so I had the thought, well, like, okay, well, this is weird. And I remember talking to a family member who lives down here in Garland, and this part of the family, my dad and I, because it was only me and my dad in Lincoln, we would visit them every year. So I was familiar with the area, with the people, that location, etc. So I just kept thinking, I had this thought, basically out of nowhere, and that it was, what if I decide to move? What if I decide to move, leave everything I've known, my friends, my dad that was up there, etc., and come down here and almost, I guess, like a rebirth is kind of how I thought about it. And it wasn't long. Like, from the time I thought about leaving to when I actually left, it was only like, I think it was like 3 or 4 days from the time I was actually down here. It's about a 9.5 hour drive. So I literally just packed everything in my car, drove down here. Sorry guys, the garbage man came here. Interrupted my video, motherfucker. Oh, I'm just kidding. Anyway, where was I? Where was it? Damn, this damn truck back me, ain't stopping again. I should go beat his ass. No, I'm just kidding. Fuck, where was I? Oh yeah, the time. So by the time, where was I? So by the time I first thought, hey, should I move down here, to when I actually moved down here, was about 3 days. I loaded up my car and just went and just came here. And then about a week later, my dad brought down, my bed frame, a couple of dressers, furniture in a trailer, because my car is not big enough to haul that stuff. And I basically set up shop here. And now when I originally did it, part of it was the job. I wasn't finding jobs. But the number one reason, if I'm going to be honest, I did it was I wanted something different. I lived in Lincoln for like 24 and a half years up until that point. And which, Lincoln's it's not a bad town. It's, it's small. I think it's about 300,000 people, which is kind of small for the capital of a state. But yeah, the main reason, I wanted something different. I wanted to see new places, which granted, this place in Garland, it's not new to me, but it was new in the sense, living there versus visiting. Living somewhere is way different than visiting. So I had that to look forward to when I moved down here. And yes, it's only been a little over a year, so not that long of time. But just in that 1 year, I look back at how much I've grown, which you think, moving to another state, or, well, city, but a whole nother state in my case. Some people might think, oh, it's no big deal. Others might think it was a big deal. I didn't think it was too big of a deal. Like I said, I just thought about it, packed up and went, and, started up a new shop, basically. And it didn't really come put into perspective until I had an old coworker from, the job, which, if so much, the job I got fired from a couple weeks ago. I had a cool coworker there, and we were talking about, he was a little bit older. He was like in his 42, I think 43, and we were talking about, life and women, etc., and all that. And I mentioned, oh yeah, I just, I thought about it. I got up and left, and here I am. And he said, wow, that's really admirable, because, not many people do that. And I was like, well, like, really? Like, I hear about people moving jobs. You hear about them all the time. Oh, I moved, my family across the state. Like, it's not that big a deal. And he's like, well, no, like, you actually, some people, he said in his case, a lot of people, they like the idea of moving. They always say, I'm going to move, but they never do. And he pointed at me. He's like, well, but they never actually move. They still live with their parents or roommates, whatever. And he's pointing at me. He's like, well, the difference is with you is that you actually moved. You actually got up and left. I told him, I was living with, my dad. He's like, well, I told him I was living with, I told him I was living with my dad and moved in with, other families. So technically it was the same thing. I wasn't paying rent with my dad. I was paying for all my own stuff, car, gas, all that. I'm doing the same thing at this new house with, the family I moved in, my part of my family I moved in with. I'm doing the same thing. I'm still paying for my own stuff, all that. And it's the same thing. I'm doing the same. He's like, well, no, it still doesn't matter. You still got up and moved. You still took the leap and went to a whole nother state by yourself. How many people can do that? And it got me thinking, like, I didn't think about it until he told me. I was like, he's right. Not many people can do what I did. And I'm not here to, gloat and say I'm better than everybody. I am. You can go my hair. I totally am. It hasn't been, long. It's like I said earlier. It's only been a year, a little over a year. But it is crazy how much I have changed in a positive way. How much I've learned and grown since doing that. There's a whole list of reasons I can go through, but the main reason I want to talk about is that it taught me you can do anything if you put your mind to it. I know that sounds kind of cliche, like, oh, anybody can be anything, but it is kind of true. You can do whatever you want in this world. It doesn't have to be dictated by someone else, or you have to be told by a family member. I guess that is kind of the same thing. Basically, you don't have to be controlled by other people's opinions. You can do whatever you want. I saw, a problem. I couldn't get a job in Lincoln and I wanted to move. So the solution was I moved to a whole nother state where I can kind of restart in a way. Now, some people might think that's a risk, it's reckless. Other people might praise it. I'm curious, comment below. Which, when I think about it, that question, like my coworker, that point my coworker brought up was, yeah, how many people can say they've done what I've done? Moved to a whole new state. Granted, it was a state I was familiar with, yes, but still, like, I still moved there. I had to change over all my, my license, my plates, all that, nonsense, hassle, BS we all have to go through in order to restart in a way. And I would say it's been a good thing. Like, I'm not here to tell people, oh, you need to do that, you should do it. But if you have, or I guess if you have a situation like I was in, or if you have, something similar, and you think, oh, I have to, leave here to go somewhere else. Should I do it? I would say, yeah, do it. Like, why not? I mean, at least you can say you did it. If it doesn't work out, you can always move back to where you were. It's no big deal. But the point was, you tried it. Like I actually tried it. I moved to a whole new city, a whole new state, and it turned out to be pretty good. Do I want to stay here in Texas my whole life? Probably not. There is a lot of problems here, which that can be a whole nother video. But for as of right now in my life, yeah, this move was a good thing. And if I can leave one message, to the viewers watching this, is that try it. You don't know if it's going to work out or not. If you want to, that new job you want to apply to, but you don't want to leave your old one, if you feel, it's right and you're kind of fed up, why not? Go for it. If you want to, I guess it might be a stupid example, want a new car, you hate your old one, you can do that too. It's kind of not the same thing, but you guys get the idea. If you have something you want to do, don't be afraid to try it. What's the class? You only live once, which is true. Why not go for it? You don't know what will happen.